Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Gregory Doyle. Greg, this is a video reacting to the official weigh-in for the Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. rematch ahead of tomorrow night in Manchester. Both fighters have made weight. This fight is obviously at middleweight. Liam Smith's come in bang on 160 pounds. Eubank Jr.'s come in at just over 159 pounds. Give me your immediate reaction, thoughts to what we've just seen. What did you think of that weigh-in?
Thanks for having me, Elliot. Very interested. It's hard to tell what you're going to get from one of those weigh-ins because on the lead up, there was all the doubts around Eubank and how he lost, and even me myself, I've said he doesn't really seem like the same guy. But I was a little bit surprised with what I seen. I thought that Liam Smith looked very overconfident when he was on the scales himself. I think when they faced off, I think reality hit him a little bit, and they had quite a lengthy stare down at each other, but with no verbal said. And then there was this desperate attempt, last attempt from Liam Smith to get under Eubank's skin. I don't know what he said to him, but he was standing in front of him, waving his arms out. I seen a member of his team throwing a towel. I don't know if you caught that yourself, Elliot, at Eubank's side. And I was just like, if you're so confident that you're going to beat this guy, then there's no need for these antics now. You proved it before. You
Mm.
can do it again. There's no need to keep trying to go under the skin. So I was very interested, Elliot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, look, at the end of the day, a weigh-in is just two people stepping on some scales. However, there is a lot more to read into it, especially when there's a rematch and you compare it to the shape of the two fighters from the original fight, body language, what fighters choose to do. Some fighters just want to have a quick face-off, then go and get a drink or something. Some fighters have kind of got things to say. Um, One thing I wanted to discuss with you was the shape of Chris Eubank Jr. First fight back in January. A few people commented saying he didn't look great at the weight. I think some people debated that, but came in at 159 pounds in January. He's come in just over 159 pounds today. Did you think he looked more comfortable today, in better shape? What are your thoughts on that?
I try and I make no secret about it, Elliot. I'm a big Chris Eubank Jr. fan. I love his professionalism, how hard he trains. But I have to be honest, I think 160 is always going to be a struggle for Chris Eubank now. He's an older guy. He's what, 5'10". He's not far off my height. I'm just about 6 foot, and I can only imagine trying to get 11 and a half stone. So I thought he looked better, to answer your question, Elliot, but he still to me looks like a guy that it's maybe not the best weight for him in this day and age.
Do you think this will be win, lose or draw? Do you think this will be his last fight at middleweight?
Yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I do want to talk about Liam Smith as well. I probably should have sent this to you before we started this video. I this is going to make me sound like a complete sado. I actually watched the weigh-in from back in January earlier today. Just
Yeah.
had a bit of time on my hands. So I actually think have a look when you get the chance. But in my opinion, Liam Smith looked in better shape in January than he did today. Smith, I think he's competed obviously at light middleweight for a long time. And I'm not saying he struggled to make weight, but he
Yeah.
just looked more defined, more ripped basically back in January. And today, he just didn't, to me, he didn't look like he was in amazing shape. I'm going to be honest, a bit out there, but that's my opinion. Just, do you have any sort of comment on that?
You know something, Elliot? That is so strange that you say that. I was too busy in the way in looking for how they both looked facially, how they faced off. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. When Liam Smith was weighing in, I was thinking to myself, he's not getting any real like definition in his
Mm.
body there. Like, and it's something that did go through my head, but it just wasn't at the forefront of my mind because he's never one of these guys where he's shredded to the bone, but he's got decent definition. So I did notice that a little bit when I'm like, maybe he has struggled a little bit, or I don't know. But one thing I will say, and I think we'll agree on this: this is if you're sleeping on Chris Eubank Jr. tomorrow night, then you're mad as far as I'm concerned. We know who a lot of people think is favourite, and rightly so, 100%. But some people are really dismissing it, and it's bothering me a bit, Elliot.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's it's a really tricky one. I just think that there's so many factors here in terms of how the first fight started, the fact that Eubank Jr. maybe didn't have the best preparation in the last fight. He obviously in the last fight he maybe didn't have the right coach in his corner, had been through a difficult period in his life in the last 12 months. So I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this one. We're not going to do predictions in this video. We are going to do final predictions. That video will be out at midday tomorrow on Saturday on fight day. Please do check that out. Me and Greg will be joined by Elliot. But yeah, it's a really tricky one. I think that from a betting perspective, I think I think I'll be putting some money on Eubank Jr. because that's where the value is. He's the underdog there.
Yeah.
Couple more questions, Greg. If Eubank Jr. wins tomorrow night, what do you think's more likely? Decision win or a stoppage?
Ellie, that's such a good question. You really caught me off guard there because it's up to people what they think. I had Chris Eubank ahead in the first fight when he got stopped. I think if you definitively say no way, you'd Liam Smith. I think you're mad. It was a close few rounds. Eubank was peppering him with the jabs. If I remember correctly, I think the punch stats showed that Eubank was maybe ahead. I'll need to go back and check that, but I think that he needs to hurt Liam Smith tomorrow if he's going to win on points or stop him. If he hurts him, I think he can do him on points. I really do. But I can see both. And
Mm,
what Chris Eubank Jr. needs to realise, and it's not something that he's greatly associated with, Liam Smith has shown weakness himself to the body. So I think if he targets the body and he wears him down, he can win on points or stoppage. But I think it'll be a close fight no matter what, Elliot, for as long as it goes.
yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. We shall see. We'll end things there. As I've said, yeah, please do tune into our final predictions video tomorrow at midday. But yeah, that's it. But I don't think there are many fights I've looked forward to that have happened in the UK this year. Obviously, we've had a few super fights happen outside the UK. We've had Spence Crawford, Fulton Inoue, Gervonta Davis against Ryan Garcia. Whereas in the UK, we've not had the most amazing year of kind of packed out arenas, those sort of fights. So this one, I'm really looking forward to it. It's got kind of that big fight feel, and if you consider how the first fight ended, if you consider like there was no question over the stoppage in most people's eyes, the fact that there's still so much interest in this rematch and so many people are going to be watching, I think really says something. Um, yeah, Greg, I'll leave it to you with any kind of closing comments. How do you feel about tomorrow night?
Yeah, do you know what, Elliot? I'm really looking forward to it. I think you maybe seen that I commented earlier. It's a bit off the cuff. Nobody will really care, but I'm excited. I had some plans tomorrow. They've been cancelled. As much as I wanted to do them as well, I couldn't miss Smith Eubank. It's a fight that I'm so excited for. Um, I just think that it's going to be fireworks, Elliot, and I'm so delighted that I'll get to sit and watch the full show now tomorrow and take in what promises to be one of the best fights in boxing history in the UK.
Fantastic stuff. Greg, thank you for your time. I'll speak to you again soon.
Speak to you again, Elliot. Thank you.